Hello boys, girls, and bees, I'm Senpai and welcome to my channel. Today we have a clip of Mysta talking about the meaning behind the lyrics of his first and last original song, Detect My Love, explains why Mysta is graduating. So I want to see if what I said in my video, kind of looking at the lyrics, if what I gauged from that is right. I think it's right because it says why Mysta is graduating. I think I did say that it seems to have hints as to why he's graduating, and I think he's going to say that in this video, I guess in this clip explaining the lyrics of the song. But yeah, I hope that you guys do enjoy this video. Do enjoy this video, please consider liking, subscribing, joining the channel for nijisanji videos, like daily nijisanji videos. So yeah, please do consider subscribing if you have not yet. It does help me to continue to make more videos, and I'll definitely be covering this last, I guess not full month, but like 26 days, almost month of Mysta's time, the rest of his time at nijisanji. But yeah, let's check out this Mysta explaining the true meaning behind the lyrics of the song.
I feel like not many people looked at my lyrics of the song. I did,
Mysta.
Fucking almost a year ago now, right? There's a pretty big part of my mindset, pretty much a long time coming, in which I said, my influence being bigger every day. I need some competition because I'm tired of being in this position, getting told to disappear like I'm a fucking magician, but I don't listen, making numbers like a fucking mathematician. You need nothing with your life for years is fucking tradition. So that part is whatever. That's just like, he's just saying shit about hate, whatever. But it's the part after that where it literally, this was written a long time ago, and it really showed my mental state and a big reason for why I want to leave, right?
Okay, so I think I was right then, right? I think I was saying not that verse, I was saying...
It says, I'll be over in
this one.
Corner going fucking insane, in my room alone, writing these words inside my brain. The only outlet that I have since I rose to fame. When I'm sitting in my home, it doesn't feel the same. I need eyes on me now that I need constant attention. How the fuck can I live life when I'm not looking at mentions? As in like Twitter mentions. Going crazy looking at my stats for viewer retention, which is a YouTube.
Yeah, if you don't know what viewer retention is, because you're not like you're not a YouTuber. Basically, viewer retention means how long somebody has watched, how long somebody has watched a video for on average. Viewer retention is the average amount of time that a viewer has watched the duration of your video, and basically, the higher the viewer retention is, the more that YouTube sees that, and they see, oh, well, lots of people are watching like the full video, and the retention is high, so that means they're going to push the video more. It's going to push the video to the algorithm, and that's why people kind of like, if you see like Mr. Beast and people like that, they do like very high energy, kind of high octane kind of editing to kind of get you to keep your attention on the video, because the theory is to keep your eyes engaged, to keep you watching, to stop you from clicking off the video, to have high retention, high engagement onto the video, so then that average, that viewer retention is high, that viewer retention percentage is higher, so that means it's more likely for YouTube to push your video out more into the algorithm.
I'm here stuck at my desk like I'm at detention. Like I'm stuck here doing this job like I'm at detention. Because detention, no one has fun.
Right.
That whole part was written like a long ass time ago, and it really shows more so the mental state I have. And
the sad thing is, I don't think it's changed. It seems like it hasn't really, it hasn't gotten better. Like, even if it was like a year ago, it seems like he still feels the same way to an extent. And he may even feel worse. He may feel even more burnt out than he did before when he wrote those lyrics.
More reasonings towards why I want to leave. People only latch onto the first part of that and think that's like the be-all end-all, but it's not.
I don't know, I really gravitate to that specific part, to the second part. That's what I kind of gravitated towards, because it felt like that spoke to me. And I think the reality is, I think it's just like, sometimes this kind, like, sometimes this kind of thing just might not be for certain people. And I think, I feel like this, to get like a sense of like relatability, it's kind of like, in a sense, it's like I guess it feels like an office job. You're sitting at a desk all day. You're basically trapped at that desk working at an office because you need to make your money, right? You need to get paid. And for Mysta, in a certain extent, it feels that way. It feels, he feels obviously, I don't think he's saying that, like, everything about him being a part of nijisanji is bad, but the fact that he's basically, you have to be stuck at a desk basically 24/7 most of the time, because like you have to stream, and then when you stop streaming, you're still at your desk, so you have to do work and stuff. You have to do other projects, get projects ready, meetings, all of this, where you are basically like stuck at your desk and you can't like live your life, because you do sacrifice a lot of things to to be a part of the company. You have to sacrifice a lot of things in order to keep up with things. He talks about your retention, keep thinking about having, okay, you're stuck at this desk because you have to keep on thinking about, okay, what am I going to do to grow? What am I going to do to gain, to gain subscribers, to gain viewers, to keep up my viewer retention, like all of these things, on top of like having to work at this company all the time and doing assignments, doing all of these things, and then pressure also, because there's a lot of pressure on you. There's a lot of eyes, there's a lot of people looking at you, and for some people it might just not be right for them, and I think that might be somebody like Mysta. Mysta doesn't seem like the kind of person, to me personally, that he seems like this is the kind of thing he wants. I don't know, because Mysta never seemed like the kind of person that he wants to be like the biggest VTuber in the world. Like, he cares about like numbers to an extent. Obviously, to a certain extent he does, but I just don't think his end-all be goal of joining this company was for him to be like the biggest VTuber in the world. I don't think so. I think he kind of like, gauging from him being kind of, financially in a not a great place, and him coming into the company, it may have been more of a way for him to make to have financial stability and to help his mum out financially, besides like him actually coming into this company in the sense of like him wanting to like be like the biggest VTuber in the world. Obviously, I think that to an extent, obviously, I think he did want to grow. He wanted, to be like because I think everyone, to an extent, every content creator has goals and aspirations they want to hit in terms of like growing. But it's just, to me, Mysta just doesn't seem like, I don't know, the kind of person that like it's like the end all be goal for him in terms of like wanting to kind of punch up and be like one of like the biggest VTubers in the world. He just didn't seem like that kind of person to me, if that makes sense.
Look at the second part, bro. For comfort now that I'm nearby. Yeah. So all of that part, this is the way it was written, right? I know it looks pretty goofy or whatever, but I actually had reasoning behind a lot of the lyrics here. And this is like cringe. I know my lyrics are cringe. I get it.
I don't think they're cringe.
But I did actually have meaning. Basically, the thought process behind this was make the intro goofy and the chorus goofy, as in like make it more unrelated to my real self and make it more related to like what people think I am.
Right.
The intro is,
that's actually, that to me that's really smart, and for like I think he doesn't give himself enough credit. I think that really is quite insightful and really smart of him to, in my opinion. I think that's like what he said just then. I think that's how people really gauge Mysta and think of Mysta. I think that people on a surface level think of him as just like a goofy person, just like, somebody who has like a goofy personality, somebody who's like, a goofball basically, but then I think when you really start watching him, I think there's a lot more depth to his character, and you can kind of see that Mysta as a human being, as a person, is a lot more of like a genuinely insightful person. I think he really is, I think, quite smart and insightful in a lot of ways. And I think like Mysta talked about this, that he says like, oh, okay, I didn't go to school, I'm dumb because I can't do certain things academically. I'm not really great math-wise, but I think what kind of, to me, what makes Mysta a very smart person is in the sense that he seems like a very emotionally, he has a lot of emotional intelligence. I think he's a very emotionally aware person in the sense of like, I think he understands people in a lot of ways, and he's very relatable in that sense. He's very intelligent in the aspects of like, I think just general world knowledge and understanding people and understanding human emotions, and I think he's very good at that. And I think that is what, in my eyes, kind of made me gravitate towards him. And I think what made mistakes gravitate towards him is that he seems like a very insightfully, intelligent person in terms of his own life experiences, in terms of his outlook on life, compared to him may not being the smartest person academically. He has a lot of intelligence other ways, and honestly, in some cases, that might be more beneficial in terms of like, he has more intelligence based off of living his life, based off his own life experiences, and having that emotional intelligence to be able to understand other people and be open-minded to other people. And I think that's really a way that I kind of have gravitated toward Mysta personally. And I think it really shows how, he knows kind of in a way how his perception is, like how people perceive him, and that it's the same thing of like, I think a lot of like content creators, like your battle in horror stars in some cases, like they, you kind of look at a person from a surface level. You only see that person based off, because it might just be like people see clips of Mysta and his most clippable moments, and that's the only way that people will gauge him based off of that, and they think, oh, well, there's clips of him just talking about cum, so Mysta's just like a goofy, sussy person. But like when you look more into it, he's actually like a very insightful person. I think it's really smart of him to make those works intentionally like that, and I think that's really smart realism, and that's really smart way of making lyrics. And I think he kind of, I think he sells himself short. I think that's really a smart way of doing lyrics, because in the sense of like, I really like songs that on a surface level it can be enjoyable and people can listen to it and kind of, it's a fun song you can listen to, but then when you look deeper into it and the true meaning and the realism of some of these lyrics, it does have some significant meaning to it. And I think that's smart realism. I think that's smart lyrics that he's done, and I think he sells himself short in that sense, in that aspect. I think that's really smart realism, and I think it's really smart also in the aspects of like, I really think it's really amazing in the sense of like, it shows like the perception of people have of him, and that it's kind of like, okay, who's going, it's like the casuals will listen to the song and only see the song on a surface level, but like the mistakes and those people who are truly fans of Mysta, in a sense, who know him, will actually look more in depth to those inner meanings in those lyrics and see the true meaning behind some of those lyrics, and see those those signs that he's putting across. And I think that's really insightful and really smart of him to do. And I think that's like, I think it's amazing. I think that's really amazing.
I want to feel your heat against my skin. The feelings I've been trying to hold in. I want you, please just let me in. I want you, baby, just let me in. I don't say that shit on stream normally, but that's what people want me to say.
Yeah,
people
it's
like
fan
that.
service.
People like the idea that I would do that, right? That's why in these parts I'm writing it as in
like fan servicey.
It's the perspective of the viewers seeing me, and the rap parts are
me,
my real self. The parts that I feel behind the screen.
Wow.
That's why, on the chorus it says, like, now can you feel my heart, detect my love? Something you don't know you miss, love. How many words before you detect my love? You know that I love you. Only one option to choose. So,
wow.
You know that I love you. You guys know I don't really say I love you. I used to say it, but I feel weird when I say it. But again, this is like a way of portraying the way that people want me to be. People want me to say I love you all the time. They want to say, like, I love you back. When people say I love you in super chats and shit, they want me to say I love you back, but I don't say it because it makes me feel a little weird, right? It makes me feel like I'm feeling...
Yeah, that's understandable. I really respect him for that. It kind of feels like you're feeding into this sort of, I guess, in a way I don't think, like, inherently, that would be like, oh my god, like, parasocial. But I think I can, like, build up to that. And I think it's a good way to set a boundary in the sense of, like, at the end of the day, Mysta's an entertainer, and he is he's a fucking YouTuber. He's a streamer. He's a content creator. I think that, like, saying, like, oh, I love you too, hot. It kind of like gives people, I think, more, like, more of, like, a chance of them kind of building up this kind of, like, power social relationship. And I think him kind of setting that boundary in that aspect, in that sense, is, like, kind of setting, like, a wall and a boundary of saying, like, okay, I'm not, I don't know you personally, I am a content creator, and there should be that boundary there of... And I think that's really respectable. I think I really respect him in that sense of, like, he seems like Mysta is very very strong on, like, setting boundaries for himself, and I think that's why I've kind of gravitated toward him, is because he's very real. I think he's very genuine, and he's not afraid to kind of speak on what he wants to speak. Because sometimes I feel like other VTubers wouldn't speak on this, because the sad reality is, sometimes for growth purposes, you kind of have to play into that. You have to play into the whole aspect of, like, saying, I love you too, and this, like, fan servicey kind of thing to kind of grow, to grow numbers, to gain viewers, because and to some extent it makes people stay by saying stuff like that, and it's kind of like, that's sad, it's kind of like, it's hard in that sense, because it can build up an unhealthy streamer to viewer relationship. And I think especially in the VTuber sphere, when it's like a character, when it's a model, when it's an anime boy, people forget about the sense that they're a human being and this is a person, and that's why people can be a lot more power social and weird towards VTubers and people, because when you see a real person, you see me on this camera, you know I'm a real person, obviously, but people kind of forget, in a sense, that they forget that, oh, Mysterious is a real fucking person, like, behind this model is a real person. When Mysta turns his PC off, when he turns his stream off, he's not Mysterious. It's the person behind Mysterious. That's them, right? And I think people really forget that aspect of that. He's a person, he's a human being, right? That's a human being behind that, and people really forget that and build up this really weird power, it's just like VTubers in general, like, people build up this really weird, like, power socialism, and I feel like, to an extent, it does need to be addressed to a certain point. And I think at the early days of Luxiem, I think it kind of did get out of hand, and the whole, like, female viewers kind of, Luxiem blowing up, and all of these female viewers kind of coming in, and I think to an extent that there was an aspect of them kind of building up a sort of unhealthy power socialism relationship. And I think that in order to grow, there was a sense of really actually having to play into this kind of in a way like, you know, saying, oh, like, oh yeah, I gotta love you back sort of thing, you know, like, oh, marry me, you know, like girls saying, oh yeah, marry me, Mysta, and then, you know, being like, oh my god, yeah, I love you too, or whatever, and that, like, that gets like retention, that gets viewership, that like helps you to grow. And I think in that sense, it's like, you know,
into something, which is don't panic, look at me, calm down, your stare is all I need, but I just want you to make me free. That part was around the idea that like people see VTubers and me, even if I don't like cater towards it. A lot of people want me to be the person they can go to relieve like all their mental problems and stress, right? They want me to be like, don't panic, look at me, you know, don't panic, look at me. They want me to be like that. They want me to say that. And then I'll try to match your pace, you won't forget my taste, so can't I end the night in your embrace? Of course, I don't say stuff like that, but of course this is showing the character again. And then, now can you feel my heart, detect my love? You know you just can't get enough, lalali love. Again, if that's in relation to the character of what people see my character as, portrayed as, these people just can't get enough, right? They can't get enough of my quote-unquote love, which I don't even really give. Gonna want to take a moment just to look a little deeper. You're the one that's gonna save me just like a goalkeeper. Playing a game, dodging bombs, is feeling like it's Minesweeper. Can't you just realize through these bars you're a gatekeeper for my heart? So, if that isn't really obvious what I mean by this, maybe look past my actual self, the person who's been singing the chorus, singing the lines and shit. Look a little deeper, and you'll see the only people who can really save me is you, because you make me. You make me as a streamer, right? If my community doesn't improve or gets worse, that affects me, right? If the community improves and becomes perfect, then that changes me. It makes me feel perfect. You get what I'm trying to say, right? When I'm saying dodging bombs.
Yeah, and I think that's true. Like sometimes, like the you know people say like the you know like people kind of sometimes say like, oh yeah, the viewer, the streamer reflects the viewer, but at a certain extent, you know, I don't always agree with that, because it's like, oh, like how your community changes based off the way you act, but at the same time also, you know, at times like your community can act a certain way without your influence or effect, but you know, your community, your viewers changing can actually reflect the streamer and change the streamers, can change the streamer themselves also, you know. See, you know, like if you have a community who's toxic, that inherently is going to make you feel worse compared to if your community is more wholesome, right? And your people would say to it, oh yeah, like your community's toxic because of you, right? Because they say like, oh yeah, the viewers reflect the streamers. I don't know if that's always true. I guess to a certain extent that could be true, but you know, it's like I think people don't realize that. I don't realize that like when you're streaming like every single day or every other day, and you are talking to thousands of people, if this community of thousands of people are toxic or are acting a certain way, of course that's going to affect the streamer. Of course, you know, to a certain extent, of course it's going to affect them. It's going to affect them in a certain way mentally, because they have to, you know, they're spending so much time with you, talking to you every single day, every other day. Of course it's going to have some effect on them, you know?
Bombs, it's like dodging controversies, because I feel like I'm always in a position where I'm like...
always in a position like whatever what he says can be taken out of context. Like he's like, you know, he's like stepping on bombs. He's like trying to tiptoe around a minefield, because anything he could say, even like a joke, even like there's some fucking things that he said, like some jokes that he says that obviously, you know, is a joke and it isn't even that big of a deal, can get taken out of context or people get mad. What was like in Genshin? What is that character called? I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know Genshin well. Like I know the character. Wait, it was Mist. It was Mist. Wasn't it? Genshin. Yeah, it was this character. I'm pretty sure it was how like it was like when Mysta was like pronouncing this character or something, he like named them something else like Phi Gap or something like that. It was something like that, and then people on Twitter like got super mad at him and started like trying to cancel him. Oh no, trying to cancel him on Twitter.
People who can really changes me. It makes me feel controversies because I feel like it gets taken so literally.
Yeah.
It gets
yeah.
like dodging controversies because I feel like I'm always in a position where
yeah, and that's the sad thing about like being in a, you know, being a big creator. There's more eyes on you. And because you are so big, there are so many eyes on you that there's even eyes on you. Like, people are looking in outside of your community as well. You know, because, like, think about it, if you're a smaller streamer, right? If you're a smaller content creator, the only people who are looking in are your community, right? Because you aren't really big enough to hit or to punch outside of your own space and outside of your own community. But because Mysta is so massive and so big, somebody can take a clip of him outside of his community and push it out to people who don't know Mysta, or to people that, you know, don't know him, who aren't a part of the community, who will take what he says in the wrong way or in a literal sense, and then it gets, you know, then it starts a controversy because it gets pushed out to a different community. You know, hypothetically, the whole Genshin thing, you know, Mysta says this, and in the Mysta's community, everyone knows it's a joke, obviously, but then somebody takes it and they push it into the Genshin community and say, hey, look, Mr. Rias is disrespecting this Genshin Impact character, which, by the way, is fucking stupid because it's a fictional fucking character anyway. But then they, you know, they get mad and be like, oh, I can't believe Mr. Rias said this about my favorite Genshin fucking character. And you know, and then it gets pushed out to like the whole Genshin community, and then the Genshin community gets mad at Mysta. You know, it's fucking stupid, but the sad reality is that happens to Mysta. And the sad thing is that, like, sometimes, yeah, he's like, he might have to tiptoe around about what he says and what he talks about. He might be afraid of saying certain things because he doesn't want controversies to happen, because controversies can be mentally strain to your mental health. Honestly, I don't understand how there are those creators, though, that purposely get into controversies. I don't fucking understand how the fuck they can do that. Like, they purposely troll and get people mad at them on purpose. Like, I don't understand those kinds of people. You know, those kinds of content creators who do that. I don't understand them, but, you know,
I'm like, I say one thing,
yeah, and they take it literally.
Taken
yeah.
so literally because I am really bad with
yeah.
words, because I've always been that way.
Yeah, and that is really like a really like annoying and sad thing. Is that it's kind of like, you know, when you're talking for hours off end, of course there's going to be some times when you may say the wrong thing, or you may say something not in the right way, and then that gets taken in the wrong context, or that gets taken literally, or they take it and take the context out of that and then attack you, or like hate on you, call you a bad person because you said this in a certain way, but like you actually meant it in this way, or like you said something, you didn't say it in the right way, not on purpose but accidentally, you know, because it's a live stream, so you can't filter what you say, and then people take it in a literal sense and try to destroy you and cancel you, you know, and it's crazy. Like, you know, it's like, even it's happened to me, you know. I don't think I'm also the best with words. I can say one thing in a video, you know. In this video, I could say one thing, and, you know, you look back and it's like, I don't remember saying this thing, but then people, like, take the one thing you say and go in the comments, be like, oh my god, I can't believe you said this, I can't believe you said that, like, this actually means that. It's annoying. It can be mentally straining when people do that, and it's like heightened 10 times, 100 times for Mysta, it's for like every streamer, every big streamer. It can be scary when you do like Satsuduns and just chatting streams all the time, and you're talking for like hours on a time, and then you may accidentally say something, but you actually, you may say something, right? You may be talking about a topic, and you don't say something in the right way. You might accidentally say something without meaning it, and people sometimes be like, oh my god, bullshit. When somebody actually says something by mistake, they're like, oh my god, like, bullshit, like, how could you say that by mistake? I think, it's hard for people to gauge that when you're not a streamer or content creator, or you're not talking like this all the time. But it's like, it's true. When you are talking for hours off end, you try to sit in front of a fucking computer or talk to people for hours and hours and hours, have the whole entire thing recorded, have the whole entire thing of you talking for hours of end recorded. Like, you definitely in your own personal life talk to your friends or something and said the wrong thing by mistake. It just slips out of your mouth. You say something accidentally, and that happens, and that does happen, and then it gets taken in a literal sense. You get attacked for it, and I can understand Mysta, how mentally straining that can be, and having so many eyes looking on you, and especially being basically in some cases the face of nijisanji en, and having so many people look at you, and having so much people be critical of every single thing you possibly say. It can be very mentally straining and mentally hurtful for you when you have, when you're feeling trapped at your desk, working all the time, already feeling to some extent burnt out, mentally strained, and then you look into Twitter and you see people canceling you and hating on you based off something you said, but the thing that you said is like the thing that they're getting angry at is fucking stupid, or they're taking something you said in too of a literal sense when it's a joke, or when you just said something about in the wrong way, because you may not be great with words and explaining things. And it's like, it's crazy, and I can understand how like mentally straining that can be.
And then it just feels like I hit a massive landmine and everything explodes out of proportion. And then everyone hates me, and then it's like, fuck. Like,
what do I do
now? So a gatekeeper for my heart. I'm saying you're a gatekeeper for my heart. As in, these people act like they care about me or whatever.
And
but then
they'll instantly turn around and shit on you.
Whenever I say something that's like they don't agree with, they'll like belittle me and make me feel like shit or whatever. But then they say that they have my good intentions, I guess. Like, they say they have my good intentions by what I'm saying. For me to improve as a person, or for me to realize I'm a bad person so I can move on, or stuff like this. That's what I'm saying. You're a gatekeeper for my heart. Because you say you're a fan, yet you do shit like this. It's like, bro, it's really, really weird. I feel like I just did one of those fucking...
Okay, well, let's just say... this is not Mysta saying that this is not Mysta saying that, a fan base should not hold a creator accountable if they genuinely did a bad thing. Obviously, he's not saying that. Like, if somebody, like, if you're a fan of a creator or a VTuber and they genuinely did a bad thing, like, they genuinely said or did something bad, he's not saying that, oh, you should, like, stick to them blindly and... just sweep what they said under the rug, even though it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. Obviously not. Obviously, you should be held accountable, and if you genuinely did say something actually bad, then you should be held accountable by your community and by people outside of that community. But obviously, that's not what he's saying, but I'm just saying that I feel people might take that literally and take it into that context. Be like, oh, so are you saying, like, we shouldn't, like, hold you accountable for things? Like, no, obviously not.
Genius videos. You know, the ones with a yellow background? And they get the rappers to, like, explain their fucking shit lyrics or whatever?
That was quite insightful, though. I think, like, it really shows, like, Mysta's a really insightful person. Honestly, a lot of respect to him, because I don't think a lot of other VTubers would actually go in depth like this to really explain things and really to, like, say, how like, you know, what viewers do or how it can have an effect on the creator, and this can help other Niji members too. I think it's really respectable that Mysta's being like open, not obviously not too open, but open enough where people can kind of, viewers and people can, maybe they can have some sort of a wake-up call and kind of realize that like what they say, the things that they do does have an effect on the streamer, on the content creator. You know, it's like, you know, you care about me, you say you loved me, but then it's like you turn around and you just hate on me for something I say, and it's like, if you truly cared about me and know me, then you would know that, like, you know, why are you taking what I said in a literal sense? Because you should know me, right? And it's like, yeah, it's crazy. You know, being in that sort of position, having, you know, 1 million plus subscribers, being one of the biggest VTubers in the world, there's so much pressure, there's so much mental strain that goes with being in this kind of position. I hope people kind of realize that more, and hopefully for other livers and other people in nijisanji, not just nijisanji but VTubers in general, they can really look at this and try to be better, you know. But I'm genuinely really blown away by the layers and the depth of the lyricism of this song. I'm really impressed by that, and I have a huge respect for Mysta, huge respect. But yeah, I hope that you guys did enjoy this video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider like, subscribe, and join the community on the channel. Let me know, you know, if you agree with what I said about this. If you have anything to add, please feel free to say in the comments. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next one. Bye bye.